Hi everyone, we are excited to have you here in today's fun-filled learning session at Uolo. Here is a quick look at how you can submit your work after the class. As a first step, go to live.uolo.com. You can use any browser to access this site. On this page, you will see a list of all our classes. Scroll down and you can see the Submit Your Work button. And then you will see a list of the classes that you've last attended, which could, for example, show the dance or craft or science experiment classes you've attended recently. Next, it will show you the list of children whose names are registered in this mobile number. Choose your name from this list to submit your work. For instance, if you are Satvik Kumar, choose that name. And then choose the class for which you would like to make your submission. For example, if you've attended the New Year's Masquerade Party session and you'd like to make the submission for this class, click on the Submit Your Work button below that. And then upload the photo you've taken. Choose the image from your phone and click Submit. You can scroll down and view all your past submissions and see how many of your friends or peers have liked your work. You can also see others' work and like their work to inspire your friends. If you want to showcase your work on social media, that too is very simple. Click on Share, copy the link and post it on Instagram or Facebook or any other platform of your choice. Just a tiny reminder, your submission looks a lot better if you could click a photo in the landscape mode rather than the portrait mode. Do not forget to tag us at YOLO_app. I'm eagerly looking forward to all your submissions right after this class.
Hey there kids, how are you doing? I hope you had a look at the submission video and it made sense to you on how to go ahead and make all of the submissions for all of the classes that you have been attending. Now in today's class, we're going to be going ahead and learning all about terrains. There are 14 terrains on planet Earth and we will get a little bit into it in a bit. But before that, I want to go ahead and discuss with you about the feedback program as well as the certificate program that we have going on. The feedback program is a very simple program wherein if you go ahead and get selected as part of that top 10 when you make your submission, if you get selected as part of that top 10, then I will be giving you some personalized feedback. Now, how is that important? How is it going to help you? What is the whole idea behind it? Okay, so the whole idea basically is that if you go ahead and get selected as part of the top 10, then I can give you two forms of feedback. One could be a critical feedback and one could be a positive feedback. A critical feedback is very simple. I'm just going to be going ahead and identifying a few mistakes, a few errors, few things that you can probably improve on, because you are doing a good job, but there are a lot of things that someone can improve on. So those are the small things that I'm going to be identifying. Apart from that, if I'm giving you a good feedback or a positive feedback, it'll be for a sort of feedback that will give you an insight as to what you're good at and how you can go ahead and take that forward. So it is really, really important for you, to get that form of feedback from me, get a form of feedback from any teacher, frankly, and to be able to improve and do more. It's really, really important. Now, apart from that, we also have the certificate program going on. The certificate program is a really, really simple program. It's a program wherein if you attend all of the classes of any particular course, for example, right now we're doing the general knowledge course, tomorrow we're going to be starting off with a new course like the coronavirus course. Whatever course you're basically going ahead and taking that course, attending all of the classes of that particular course, and then finally going ahead and making all of the submissions for all of the classes, what it will do is it'll sort of give you that form of skill that you're learning. You will just go ahead and learn all those skills, but it'll also identify the skill set that you have by this certificate. The certificate gives you that proof of the fact that you have gone ahead and done something, and tomorrow it will be really, really helpful in showcasing to your teachers, to your peers, to your other parents, so on and so forth, as to what your skills lie in and how wonderful or good you are with whatever you do. So these are the 2 points that that I really want you to keep in mind. Now, let's get started with today's class. I want to give you an introduction about it today. So, firstly, we're going to be going ahead and talking about different terrains that exist on Earth. There are totally 14 terrains on Earth, but it will be a little hard for us to draw all of the 14 terrains out. So, in today's class, we're just going to be going ahead and drawing 4 terrains out of the 14. So, it just makes our job a little simpler and easier, but I will try talking to you about as many terrains as I can. Now, if you're the first time attending this class and you might be a little confused on how we go ahead with this class, it's really simple. We're going to be drawing, and alongside that, I'm going to be giving you all of these fun facts. For your submission, all you have to do is submit the drawing that you've done with me. Apart from that, all the facts just go into your head, and you can go ahead and share it with anybody or everybody, whoever you like. So let's get started with today's class. First, we're going to go ahead and talk to you about the list of materials. The list of materials that you need for today are really simple. The first thing that you need is a sheet of paper. I want you to go ahead and take an A4 size sheet of paper, an unruled sheet of paper, anything that you have with you, a journal book, a drawing book like I always use. And the second set of things that you will need for today's class is going to be a set of sketch pens. If you have a set of sketch pens that are like a set of 12, or you have a set of 10, or you have a set of 12, of 24, whatever it is would work wonderfully well. If you do not have sketch pens, then you can go ahead and use your pencil and then color later with crayons or color pencils. You draw with color pencils, whatever you prefer. No hard and fast rule about that. So let me show you what we're going to go ahead and do on our piece of paper. So if everybody is ready, let's get started. Okay, I see that everybody is ready and we can get started. So the first thing that I want us to do is I want you to go ahead and divide our sheet of paper into 4 parts. I'm going to be going ahead and taking my pencil and just drawing an outer box. So this is going to be sort of like an outline box for the whole thing. So I'm just going ahead and drawing that out first. Here, if you feel like, no, I need a scale and it's really hard drawing freehand, then definitely go ahead and take a scale. No hard and fast rule that you can't use a scale or anything. Go ahead and definitely take a scale if you need to. Once you're done with that, I'm just going to go ahead and divide my sheet into 4 parts. I'm drawing a center line, and then I'm drawing a sleeping line, so that my whole box or whole sheet of paper is divided into 4 simple parts. Now, before we get started drawing up all of our, different terrains, I want to go ahead and talk to you about what all the 14 terrains are. So I'm just going to name them out, and then we'll go ahead and discuss as many as we can in today's class. So let's get started with the first, terrain that is there. The first terrains are basically canyons. The second one is a desert. Third is a forest. Fourth is a glacier. Fifth is hill. Sixth is marsh. Seventh is mountain. Eighth is oasis. Ninth is ocean. Then 10th is open terrains. 11 is a river terrain. 12th is a swamp terrain. 13 is a tundra terrain, and then finally we have the valley terrain. So these are the 14 terrains that are identified and exist in Earth as a whole, but we'll be going ahead and discussing as many as we can. We won't discuss all of them because it might be a little hard, but we can, I can give you a definition of the terrain here and there, and we can discuss a few in depth. So the first 2 terrains, we're going to be going ahead and quickly going through. The first terrain that I want to tell you about is basically like a canyon. So what is a canyon? Canyon is very similar to a valley, but not exactly a valley. A valley is basically when 2 mountains cross, but a canyon is one in which basically there is high rocks or mountains, or rock formations through which very very deep down below you have a river going through. So canyons are basically breaks between your mountainous terrains or your rocky terrains and all of that. And canyons don't necessarily have to be hills or mountains, they can just be big land masses as well. So that is a canyon. Now the second one, basically our desert, is what we're going to go ahead and actually draw today. So I think all of us know what deserts are. Deserts are in India. If you want to talk about where deserts are, really, really simple. It's there in Rajasthan, it's there in Gujarat. We have, the whole desert concept going around over there. And like you all know, desert is basically a dry land, and it has a lot of sand, and there is humidity is all on the lower side. It's very hard to find water bodies. It's more on the drier side, and it tends to be really, really hot in these kind of places. So let's go ahead and start by, actually drawing a desert out, and then we can continue to discuss a little bit more after that. So in my first box that I'm pointing out right here, I'm going to be drawing the desert. I'm taking a green color sketch pen, and I'm going to go ahead and draw a few cactuses. So you can see I've drawn a straight line and then a curve on top and drawing a center line through it. And then I'm going to go ahead and add in two curves on the side, like the curves of how a cactus has like hands coming out of it of sorts. So that's what I'm going ahead and adding in. I'm going to go ahead and do one more cactus on this side, because I want it to look full and make it look more like a desert. So another one like so. Perfect. And now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and take another color sketch pen. I'm using my brown color sketch pen right here. And I'm just going to go ahead and draw one sleeping line through and through, on which I'm going to go ahead and draw another, curved line coming through and through. So these are basically, I'm just going ahead and drawing a bunch of lines in the sand itself. So I'm just doing like a bunch of 3, 4 curves basically coming down. After that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and probably draw like a hill of sand at the back. Now for this, you can obviously go ahead and use whatever color sketch pen you like. I'm just going ahead and using a purple color sketch pen to do a bunch of like mountains or sand, portions right there. To make it look a little bit more realistic, I'm just going to go ahead and also take a black sketch pen and draw a few clouds up there, because I do not want it to look empty, the sky of it. And just like I do not want it to be just a simple like pen sketch like this. I want to just add a little bit more. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and add in a few lines of brown in my brown parts. In my purple parts, I'm just going to go ahead and add in a few dashes like this on my purple parts, sort of like filling it in but not completely. So if you are taking part of my sketching course, then you will know what we're doing right now. It's sort of like a form of shading, and that's what I'm doing right now. You can avoid this if you don't want to, or you can go ahead and later color with sketch pen. It's completely up to you whether you want to do this part or you do not want to do this part. It's completely up to you. Perfect. Well done. All right. So, like I was talking to you earlier, I want to go ahead and talk to you a little bit more again about deserts. So, deserts, like they tend to be on the larger side. You don't tend to have very small deserts. Most deserts that exist on planet Earth tend to be very, very large deserts, because they tend to be formed completely out of sand, and they have a lot of rocky spaces. Now, there are two places, obviously, where sand is found. It's found on in deserts, and it's found in it's found in deserts, and it's found in beaches. Now in beaches, you do know that you have water close by, so there's a lot of humidity that comes in, there's a lot of water. But when it comes to deserts, there's very, very little amount of humidity and very, very little amount of water that's there. So one animal or one characteristic that you will see very, very often in our animals or plants that ever grow in deserts are basically that they have some form of system of holding water in them. So to give you an example, if I'm talking about a cactus, the cactus in itself holds a lot of water, so it doesn't need a lot of water from the roots. And same thing if you think about camels as well, that do actually live in deserts, they have the hump in which they have that good amount of water that they hold. So again, they do not need to drink a lot of water. So deserts is sort of a terrain where even the animals and plants and everybody have sort of kind of understood how to live around that. So look at how fascinating our planet is and how, the whole thing works. Now let's move on to a couple of more, terrains before we go ahead and draw the third one. The third one, which we will also be drawing today, is a forest. Now, what is a forest? I think all of us know what a forest is. Forest is basically a place where you have a lot of trees, where you have a lot of plants, and you have a lot of animals. You also tend to have a bunch of water bodies, but mostly it tends to be land. Now, it is land where you have a lot of vegetation. Now, what I mean by vegetation basically is any form of greenery. This could be trees or this could be plants. Now, the vegetation that basically exists can be of many, many, many varieties. You have a lot of forests that have like coexistence of different ecosystems living. An ecosystem basically is when, the whole cycle of things that are there are connected to each other. For example, there are trees. The trees give fruits, the plants give fruits, they give vegetables, the animals that live there eat these vegetables and fruits, etc., and they live. Then they have water bodies that exist, they drink water out of that. The whole ecosystem basically exists where you have animals, plants, birds, insects, trees, everything living very, very big. And like, we have many, many forests that exist, all around the world. The Himalayan forests are very, very, big and like beautiful and things like that. And then you have like big pine forests if you actually go to colder regions all around the world. So depending on what region you are on, the forest will also change depending on whether it's hot, whether it's cold, different things. So it really depends on the kind of climatic conditions that the forest is present in. Now, since we have spoken about forest, let's go ahead and draw the forest, and then we can get back to talking a little bit more about our GK. So for our forest, I'm basically just going ahead and taking my green color sketch pen and drawing a bunch of bushes. That is my step one. For my step two, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my brown and draw a bunch of trees right behind that bush. So you can see just simple two lines I'm doing, and then I'm doing the same thing on the other side. To make it look a little bit more like a tree, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a bunch of circles and lines and stuff like that to make it look a little bit more like a tree. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow in the same format. I'm just going to go ahead and draw a bunch of more bushes and then right behind that trees to make it look really, really nice. And again, I'm using the same technique that I did earlier by going ahead and drawing the lines in my bushes to make it look a little bit more, fuller. Now again, taking a dark color sketch pen, I'm going to go ahead and draw a bunch of bushes in the back. Again, drawing a bunch of dashes to make it look a little bit more filled up. Now taking a little bit of brown, I'm going to go ahead and add in some more trees here and there. Now for these trees, I'm also going to go ahead and draw like the top part of the tree. You can do this, or if you don't want to do it, that's also completely fine. It's completely up to you to go ahead and do. No hard and fast rule that you have to do it exactly the way I'm doing it. It's just a creative drawing class wherein you're drawing with me and we're learning different general knowledge things. So go ahead and do it the way you like it. I'm going to go ahead and take some more green and draw the top parts of my tree where we have all of our leaves sitting there, and I'm going to go ahead and fill it in with some color as well. Now if you do not want to do that, that's completely fine. If you want to go ahead and color it with color pencils, that's also completely fine. Completely up to you on how you want to go ahead and do it. You can always go ahead and add in some more branches here and there if you like, if you feel like, it'll make it look nice. I'm going to just take a little bit of brown and I'm going to go ahead and draw like a few like lines here and there, adding some more, far away trees of sorts. Perfect. Now, while you are completing your drawing right now, I'm going to go ahead and talk to you about the next set of terrains. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to club this set of terrains because they're all very similar to each other, and they can easily be like distinguished, but they can also be easily combined because they're so similar to each other. The fourth one terrain is basically called glaciers. Apart from glaciers, we also have hills, and then we have our mountains. So these are the three that I want to go ahead and combine with each other. Now, glaciers basically exist wherein there are a lot of ice, features sitting around. So these could be really, really, really cold places. So the snow caps of the north and the south pole will have a lot of glaciers. But apart from that, we also have glaciers in very, very hilly regions where it is cold. A good example of that could be the Himalayas, wherein we have a lot of glaciers, because basically it's sort of like a mountain structure but with a lot of ice stuck on it. So this is basically a form of glacier. The other two, I think, are very self-explanatory, and you would understand why I'm clubbing them with my glacier, because it's basically hill and mountain. Now, hills are basically smaller mountains. They're again rocky structures that sort of, collide onto each other to form like a standing body up, like so. Hills and mountains, both depending on how they are, can also have a good amount of vegetation or forest on them. A lot of the time, since hills are, smaller than mountains, hills tend to have a lot of vegetation on them because, it is a little bit closer to the ground and hence can have water resources for trees to grow very easily. Mountains tend to be on the larger side as compared to hills, and hence they may or may not have as much vegetation depending on where they actually exist. Mountains, some mountains that you have, like for example in the Himalayas, it is so cold in certain places that only pine trees and oak trees and things like that grow, because the thing is it is so cold over there. Other forms of vegetation don't really survive, and in the same manner, animals and stuff also, the particular ones that can survive in the cold only exist. So depending on where the region we have our mountains or hills or glaciers, depending on where it is, how cold or how conducive it is, the vegetation, animals, etc. will survive there. So let's go ahead and actually draw a mountain with a little bit of snow on top. So sort of wanted to combine all of the three and do a little bit of a drawing for this one. I'm going to be going ahead and taking a purple color sketch pen and drawing two mountain shapes like so. And I'm going to go ahead and make the top part snow capped. So just leaving that part out with white and coloring the rest with purple. Very, very simple. You can see so how easy that drawing is, keeping it very easy, keeping it very simple. And now I want to go ahead and complete it up and not leave it as is. So I'm just going to go ahead and add in a bunch of clouds to make it look full and nice. Perfect. Very, very well done. Okay, so now while you're going ahead and continuing to finish up this glacier, mountain, hill, whatever you want to go ahead and call it, I'm going to be going ahead and talking to you a little bit about the next set of terrains that I have clubbed together. Now, they all are different forms. They aren't like technically all combined to one another, but I'm going to be combining them to make it easier for you to understand. So the ones that I'm going to basically be combining are the oases, marshes, oceans, river, swamp, tundra. Now, the reason why I'm combining all of this basically is because they all are in some way or the other water related or water body related. For example, if you're talking about the oasis or the ocean or the river, they all basically have some form of water body. And oasis is basically a desert where you do have like deserts around, sorry, you have water bodies or oceans around a desert. Oceans basically, very, very simple, very, very big oceans we have all around us. So oceans are very simple. Rivers are basically, when ice melts and you have water coming down from or creating a stream, etc., like Ganga, Yamuna, Brahmaputra, all of them are rivers that basically originate from a glacier. They melt and become water bodies and they flow through any state, country, etc. So those becomes rivers. Now the other few set of things why I want to include as part of this one is a little similar because they all are created because of water. For example, if I'm talking about marshland or swampland, both of them are created because of the existence of water on land and they mix up. So swamps, for example, are water bodies of sorts, but they're very low lying, very little water over there, but there's a lot of vegetation that gets created because of the good amount of humidity that is around. So what happens is swarms get created. So I wanted to go ahead and sort of combine all of these together because they all are in some way or the other water body related. Now two that that do not come in this set of water body related are the open terrain and the valley terrain. Now the open terrain is basically plain fields, open fields of nothingness. This could just be simple flatlands, etc., where you have just normal grass growing and normal everything growing. That's just a simple open areas, open terrains. And the last is valleys. Valleys, like you all know, valleys are in between your mountains and your hills. They exist in the middle, and that's where you do have a lot of vegetations, and they are the lower lying areas in terms of mountains or hills. Now let's go ahead and do the last drawing, which was related to the previous the terrain set that I was talking about, which is basically the river or the water related terrains. I'm going to be going ahead and drawing a simple river here to identify or define that set of terrains. So I'm taking a green color sketch pen and I'm going ahead and drawing two parts of land around a river, just making it really, really simple and easy, and adding in a little bit of green right there. After which I'm going to go ahead and take my blue color sketch pen and I'm going to go ahead and draw the water body part of the center portion. So here, instead of coloring it in and making it like weird and adding in too much color, all I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and draw the waves of the water flowing, keeping it really, really simple. Finally, to finish up and add in, to complete my picture, I'm going to go ahead and take in a brown sketch pen and add in a little bit of my mountainous part right there. Perfect. Just adding like a few mountain bits right there. And finally, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take a black sketch pen and add in a few clouds here and there. Now I kept the easiest for last because it should be easy for you to go ahead and draw. Now just to finish up this whole picture, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and take my black sketch pen and outline this whole picture because I do not want just the pencil marks to exist when you have done such a beautiful drawing in the center. So just taking my black color sketch pen and outlining out the whole thing. Perfect. All right, so I'm just going to wait here for a second just in case, some of you are still doing the river portion of it. Please go ahead and finish it up. Okay, I'm looking at everybody's sheets. You've done such a wonderful job. So happy with it all. All right. So well done, everybody. You've done an excellent job in drawing whatever, we've done today. You learned all about the 14 terrains that we have. Now, we didn't go into detail of each of the terrains because, there are so many terrains and it'll be weird if you just go ahead and talk about each terrain specifically. But they all are in some way or the other interrelated to one another like you learned in today's class. I hope you had fun in actually drawing out all of the terrains that we went ahead and did, which mainly was the desert, the forest, the mountain, glacier, hill, whichever category, and then the river or the water body terrain category. I had a lot of fun. Now, before we end today's class, let's talk about a little bit about the certificate program. Make sure to go ahead and attend all of the classes and make all of your submissions. Then you'll go ahead and get a certificate. Apart from that, your feedback program, make sure to go ahead and get selected as part of the top 10. So for that, make your submission, then get selected as part of the top 10, and you will get a personalized feedback from me. I hope to see you in the next class where we will learn a lot more fun things. So I hope to see you in that one. For now, this is all for your submission. Make sure to go ahead and complete up this picture if you haven't already with me. If you plan on doing some coloring, go ahead and do that and submit it. I would love to see it and correct it out. All right, guys, see you in the next one. Bye.
Hi everyone, we are excited to have you here in today's fun-filled learning session at Uolo. Here is a quick look at how you can submit your work after the class. As a first step, go to live.uolo.com. You can use any browser to access this site. On this page, you will see a list of all our classes. Scroll down and you can see the Submit Your Work button. And then you will see a list of the classes that you've last attended, which could, for example, show the dance or craft or science experiment classes you've attended recently. Next, it will show you the list of children whose names are registered in this mobile number. Choose your name from this list to submit your work. For instance, if you are Satvik Kumar, choose that name. And then choose the class for which you would like to make your submission. For example, if you've attended the New Year's Masquerade Party session and you'd like to make the submission for this class, click on the Submit Your Work button below that. And then upload the photo you've taken. Choose the image from your phone and click Submit. You can scroll down and view all your past submissions and see how many of your friends or peers have liked your work. You can also see others' work and like their work to inspire your friends. If you want to showcase your work on social media, that too is very simple. Click on Share, copy the link and post it on Instagram or Facebook or any other platform of your choice. Just a tiny reminder, your submission looks a lot better if you could click a photo in the landscape mode rather than the portrait mode. Do not forget to tag us at Uolo_app